In the previous video, we looked at when and where Babylon the Great exists and what or who it is. In this video, we'll look at how and when Babylon the Great will be destroyed, which will reveal more about who or what Babylon the Great is. First, how will Babylon the Great be destroyed? In Revelation 18:21, it says, "An angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea." This, it says, is how Babylon will be destroyed. This is the same stone that will destroy the final beast in Daniel. Daniel 2:34 and 35 says this stone is not cut out with hands and will become a mountain in the land. Daniel 7:9 through 11 says it is a fiery stream or burning flame that will come forth before the Ancient of Days sits on the throne. In other words, Daniel is telling us the beast will be destroyed by a fiery burning stream that is a stone. Revelation 8 and 9 describes it as a burning star that will fall from heaven. So the books of Daniel and Revelation tell us that both the beast and Babylon the Great will be destroyed by a fiery stream that is a burning stone that will fall from the sky. Revelation 9 tells us this asteroid will open a bottomless pit and smoke will come out of that pit and darken the sky. This is the falling of the stars in Matthew 24:29 and the rain of fire and brimstone in Luke 17:29. This asteroid impact will destroy both the beast and Babylon sitting on the beast. However, Revelation 13:5 says the beast will be allowed to continue for 42 months, which is 3.5 years. Revelation 17:8 through 11 tells us the beast, as the 8th king, will ascend out of the bottomless pit, and Revelation 9 says that bottomless pit will be opened by the asteroid impact. Therefore, it's telling us that the 8th king, the United Nations, will rise to its final power at the asteroid impact and continue for 3.5 years afterward. Revelation 18:21 explains that at least one part of the asteroid will hit the Sea of Babylon. This is the Sea of Babylon the Great, which appears to be the Atlantic Ocean. This is why Jeremiah 51:42 says Babylon will be covered by the waves. Revelation 16 describes the destruction of Babylon as the pouring out of 7 vials, and verses 9 and 21 say that these vials are plagues. Then Revelation 18:8 clarifies that the plagues will happen in one day, and more specifically in verse 10, it says they will occur in 1 hour. This means all 7 of the vials occur in 1 hour. They represent the asteroid impact. But there's another point to this in verse 16 of Revelation 17. It says the 10 kings of the beast will hate Babylon and burn it with fire. Verse 12 says the 10 kings will only have power with the beast for 1 hour, and Revelation 18:10 and 21 says that Babylon will fall in 1 hour when the millstone hits the sea. Therefore, the hour that the 10 kings have power with the beast is very likely the hour of the asteroid impact. This indicates that the 10 kings will burn Babylon when the asteroid hits. Revelation 17:13 and 14 say these 10 kings, or 10 regions of the world appointed by the Club of Rome, will give all their strength to the beast at that asteroid impact, and at that time they will make war with the Lamb and those who are with the Lamb. This war is the Battle of Armageddon in Revelation 16:14 through 16, which is also described as the Battle of the Great Day of God Almighty. The Great Day of God is the Day of the Lord, in which 2 Peter 3:10 tells us the whole earth will burn. Zechariah 14 adds more details about the day of the Lord, when all nations will gather together against Jerusalem in battle. Revelation 17:14 explains that the battle is against the Lamb and those people who are with the Lamb in heaven. This heavenly place is called the Holy City or New Jerusalem in Revelation 21. So Zechariah 14 is talking about the Battle of Armageddon, when the kings of the earth fight against New Jerusalem in heaven. It says in the day of the Lord all the nations will go to battle against Jerusalem, and when they do, they will be smitten by a plague that causes their flesh to melt away. It says in verse 12, "This shall be the plague wherewith the Lord shall smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." This is obviously a nuclear event. However, it is not saying that God will nuke them. The Lord in Zechariah 14 is Yahweh, and Hosea 13 says Yahweh is the beast. Deuteronomy 32 says Yahweh is the name created by ancient Babylon in order to cause the people to follow the beast doctrine. In other words, the beast is the final world government and its ancient false god Yahweh. Zechariah is saying the beast will cause the nuclear plague, therefore the world government will cause it. This is explained more in Zechariah 5:1-4. It gives the dimensions of the flying rule, which we now know represents a nuclear missile. Then it says these missiles are the curse that goes over the whole earth, and they will remain in the house of the thief and consume it. The house is the house of Israel, which Jesus said is the whole world in Mark 16:15 and Matthew 10:6-7. And the thief is those who sneak into the house through the windows, John 10:1. So the house represents the whole world, and the thief represents those who took over the world uninvited. So Zechariah 5 is saying the missiles will enter the whole world and remain there until they consume or burn the whole world. Therefore, the Bible seems to be telling us that the beast, and more specifically, the 10 kings of the beast, will bring nuclear weapons into their land and keep them there, and at the hour of the asteroid impact, those nuclear weapons will detonate. In other words, it indicates that the asteroid impact will cause nuclear meltdown. But in addition, it says the 10 kings of the beast hate Babylon, the religious system, and the beast will make war with and even kill the people of this system. This leads into number 2. When will Babylon the Great be destroyed? First, Revelation 11 tells us Babylon the Great will fall at the end of 1260 days. In verses 3 and 7, it says the beast will kill the 2 witnesses who had the testimony at the end of 1260 days, which can also represent 1260 years, using the day for a year principle. Revelation 11:4 says the 2 witnesses are candlesticks, and Revelation 1:20 tells us candlesticks represent churches. The word translated as church also means assemblies of people. So Revelation 1:20 says there are 7 churches or assemblies of people, and the 2 witnesses represent 2 out of 7. Christians and Jews have a population of 2 billion out of a total world population of 7 billion. Zechariah 4:2-10 also says the candlesticks or lamps are the eyes of Yahweh, which run to and fro through the whole earth. The clue that connects the 2 witnesses in Babylon the Great is in verse 8, where it says they will lie dead in the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where their Lord's power will be utterly destroyed. Watch the video on the 2 witnesses for those translations. Revelation 17:18 tells us that Babylon the Great is the great city. So the 2 witnesses, the 2 churches, the 2 billion people who are the eyes of Yahweh running to and fro through the whole earth, are walking the great city, Babylon the Great, which covers the whole earth, where their Lord's power will be destroyed. Their Lord is Yahweh, who Hosea 13 tells us is the beast. They walk the earth for 1260 years, which corresponds to the tribulation in Matthew 24, and immediately after the tribulation of the days, the stars fall. Number 2. Babylon will be destroyed at the start of the final 3.5 years. In Revelation 12:14-15, we're told the woman will escape from the serpent, and the serpent will cast a flood of water after the woman. This is the millstone that will hit the sea in Revelation 18:21, which will cover Babylon with waves in Jeremiah 51:42. This 3.5 years is also when the dragon will make war with the remnant in Revelation 12:17. It says they have the testimony of Jesus Christ. These are the 2 billion Christians, the 2 witnesses who have the testimony. This is when the beast kills the 2 witnesses, and their bodies lie over the whole earth for 3.5 days, which can also represent 3.5 years. It's also the time period that the beast is allowed to continue in Revelation 13:5. This is when it says the beast will blaspheme God, God's name, the tabernacle, and the people in heaven. The people in heaven at this time are the multitude of Revelation 7. Revelation 11:2 tells us that the multitude will walk the holy city for 42 months, and Revelation 21 tells us the holy city is in heaven. Number 3. Babylon will fall after 70 years have been accomplished. In Jeremiah 25:11 and 12, it says that the nations around Jerusalem will serve the king of Babylon for 70 years, and once those 70 years have been accomplished, the king of Babylon will be punished, and in verse 33, the slain will lie over the whole earth. So the Bible tells us that Babylon the Great is a religious system that worships false gods, specifically Yahweh the beast, who has made the whole earth worship these false gods as well. It rose up after 1945 and sits on all 7 continents, the 7th of which was acquired in 1959. It believes it is the bride of God and God is not dead. It sits on the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, It walks the great city, Babylon the Great, for 1260 years, acting as prophets in sackcloth, and during that time the waters turn to blood and the rain will not fall. This means many people were murdered, and there will be no judgment, no rain of fire and brimstone, not until immediately after that 1260 years of tribulation is finished, and once the 70 years have been accomplished. Then the stars will fall. A burning millstone will hit the sea, causing nuclear meltdown over the whole earth. At that time, the world government will rise to power and continue its rule for 3.5 years. During this time, a multitude of all tribes and nations will be walking the holy city in heaven, after they fly to safety to escape from the serpent, and the beast will blaspheme them and the holy city in heaven for this escape, while the remnant, those left behind, will be hunted by the dragon and killed by the beast. These are those who have the testimony of Jesus Christ, the 2 witnesses who have the testimony, 2 candlesticks out of 7, 2 billion Christians out of 7 billion people. They are the remnant, who Jesus said are not worthy to escape in Matthew 22, 6-8. In 1 Corinthians 15:15, Paul made the cryptic statement that if the dead do not rise, then they would be false witnesses, because they testified that God raised up Christ, whom God did not raise up. Then he warned in 2 Corinthians 11:12-17 that he was a false apostle and a deceitful worker, that those who follow him are fools, because what he speaks, he does not speak after the Lord, but foolishly. It was Paul who created the Christian testimony that Jesus did not die but rose from the grave. Yet he warns that if this did not happen, then it would be a false testimony. The Merriam-Webster definition of testimony is a solemn declaration usually made orally by a witness under oath in response to interrogation by a lawyer or authorized public official. The definition of a witness in Merriam-Webster is one who has personal knowledge of something. This means that in a court of law, if one testified about an event they did not actually witness, they would be considered a false witness. Even if Jesus did rise from the dead, no one alive today saw it. Therefore, testifying that he rose from the dead is a false testimony because none of us actually witnessed it, and the Bible warns against bearing false witness. Jesus also said himself in Matthew 16:20 not to call him the Christ. This may explain why the Bible says in Revelation 11 and 12 and Matthew 22 that the remnant, those who have the testimony about Jesus Christ, will be left behind. For more information on the translations and other very specific details, watch the playlist linked at the end of this video. Thank you so much to those who make this work possible. If you liked this video, please consider providing support using the link below or at indigoflower.net. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you next week.